Hello there guys, my name is Mr. Yorkie's World, and in today's video I'm going to be going through some brand new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 screenshots which were just released yesterday, which was the 7th of May at the time of making this video. However, I've just said yesterday when in fact I'm making this video on the 9th, so it's actually not yesterday, but there we go. Before we start the video though, if you'd like to support my channel and the work that I do, then please consider subscribing or becoming a patron. The link for all of that will be in the description. Let's see if we can get this channel to 7,000 subscribers. I've seen a hell of a lot of support over the past few months, so I really appreciate it, guys. Now, I'm really excited to take a look at these screenshots today. There are quite a few exciting things to talk about here, so let's get into it. If we bring up this first image here, we can see what looks to be the external view of an Airbus. You can see sort of the cockpit and everything that's distinctive of the Airbus. The camera's placed just to the left of one of the cockpit windows there, and we can see those amazing clouds again and the fantastic sky as well. It looks to be like maybe a sunset or something like that. We've got the reflections coming off of the nose of the aircraft from the sky there and the sun as well, which is nice to see. And we can see a little bit of the ground in here as well, but it's very difficult to really make a lot of detail out of that because obviously the focus of the image is primarily on the cockpit of the aircraft, which makes it slightly difficult to really get much of a view of the ground. But overall, a really nice image. And as we move on to this next screenshot here, we can see an absolutely gorgeous view of a light aircraft towards the left of the screen, right in front of you basically, overlooking a large body of water there. We can see those sky textures, or the sky, the clouds, some nice low-level clouds there, as well as some higher ones in the sky. And that horizon is just fantastic. A look at the reflections from the water, absolutely brilliant. I'm not sure where in the world this was taken, but you can also see a patch of land just below the aircraft towards the lower left corner of the image there as well. Again, look at those reflections, absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant indeed. So up next is probably one of my favourites. We can see another light aircraft here flying quite close to the ground. We can see the buildings there, looks like apartment blocks, maybe hotels, things like that. I love the way the shadows look on the side of those buildings as well. They're absolutely fantastic. It does look very realistic. We've got some mountains in the background as well. It looks like this screenshot may be taken at sort of an evening time with some gorgeous atmospheric effects there as well. The haze in the background, the blur and things like that. It looks absolutely fantastic. Again, we can see the example of those reflections and the shadowing on the body of the aircraft itself. The shadows look quite sharp and detailed compared to what we would normally see in P3D, for example, which can be quite blocky. Overall, a really nice screenshot. I would definitely say it would be wallpaper worthy. Next up, we've got this image here, which is absolutely gorgeous sunset image taken from inside the cockpit. We can see the cockpit itself seems to be blurred out due to the main focus being sort of outside of the window and the background there. It's focusing on those clouds and focusing on that sky. But just look how gorgeous those clouds look and how amazing that sunset looks with the orange, almost blood red sky. It really is a lovely, lovely looking image there. Now the next screenshot here looks to feature two Cessna aircraft flying around in what could be maybe the multiplayer platform. It certainly looks that way. We've got the name tag there of the other aircraft. We can see the lovely clouds again in this image, and the scenery really seems to go quite far out as well. It's sort of like it's as if in P3D we've got the level of detail radius set to ultra, that is what, or max, or whatever it is. That basically looks exactly what you'd get in a perfectly configured P3D, but it is just so much better in terms of the detail and things like that. We've got some 2D panels by the looks of it, is what I would call them. Things such as a compass, an altimeter, flaps indicator, airspeed indicator, among other things. And one of the most detailed things I can see is how you can see all the different houses and the streets and the buildings and stuff like that. It really does look very nice on the ground there as we're flying around in this what looks to be a Cessna. The one thing I like about this image is the scenery. It has always been, or all of these images, in fact, they've all been very, very detailed with the weather, with the ground, with the atmospherics. Everything has been so detailed. The trees look really nice. You can see the cloud shadows on the ground as well, which is nice. Again, this is all looking good, absolutely fantastic. Now this next screenshot, we can see another Cessna aircraft, and we can see sort of a taxiway signage, or some taxiway signage there. It looks as if, obviously, this aircraft's taxiing. It looks a bit to the edge of the taxiway, to be fair, but nevertheless, we can see, again, that taxiway signage. It looks absolutely incredible. It's very, very detailed, very sharp. It's not too sharp, but it's sharp enough to make it look really, really nice. We've got the sunshine coming through in between the trees there. That looks absolutely just stunning, absolutely fantastic. The taxiway itself and the grass around it looks to be really detailed as well. The aircraft seems to have a lot of reflections and detail in terms of the lighting. Everything does, to be fair. The shadows and the lighting sort of hits everything in the same way with the same level of detail. Now, I do like the lens flare effect here as well, which adds to the realism of what you would see through a camera. But obviously, lens flare, as we all know, can't be seen by the naked eye, really. It looks nice overall, but that's something that you'd get in a photograph from a camera. It's not really something that you would see in your own eyes, if you will. But nevertheless, it's an absolutely stunning image, as always. The next image here is really detailed indeed. We've got an aircraft flying pretty low to the ground here as we take a look over the right wing to the buildings there, maybe a sort of a cityscape or some sort of, large town or whatever. We can see the water there as well, with a large bridge going over the top of it with some amazing reflections as well on that water. The clouds in the image look really nice. I keep referencing the clouds, but to be honest, they are absolutely one of my favourite parts of this simulator. They look so real. I'm not sure if I've ever seen any clouds from any add-ons or anything that are anywhere near as detailed as what they are in FS2020. I like how the buildings are casting shadows on the ground as well, and that seems to sort of react realistically with the light and where the sun is and stuff like that. You can see reflections and shadows have really been looked at and have really been tweaked to work very, very well, in my opinion, with FS2020. If we look at this next image, you can see some sort of reflections happening here as well. Another light aircraft flying over an open piece of land with loads of trees and small bodies of water and stuff like that. The reflections in this are amazing, really, really detailed. Absolutely love the sun in the background there and how those reflections really work well and make things look realistic, not just in the air on the aircraft in the air, but on the ground and on the landscape and the surrounding area. Everything sort of, as I've said before, sort of works together and really brings a lot of realism in these screenshots at least. But it'll be interesting to see whether that is actually possible in the simulator or whether these images have been sort of made to look better. I've no idea. A lot of people think they have. A lot of people think these images have been made to look a lot better than what they actually are, but we're only going to find that out one way, and that is when the simulator is ready for us all to try out. And personally, I don't think we're going to be disappointed at all. Again, the landscape in this image seems to span quite far out. You can really see a lot of detail in there with the distance, or a lot of distance with the mountains and the hills, etc., etc. You can see all the way out there. It's not a problem whatsoever. Following on from that image, it looks as if this next one might be taken from a different angle of the same plane. It looks like the same aircraft to me, and the watermark seems to show the same user as well. So my guess is that this image is basically one that was taken alongside the previous one within within a period of a few minutes of each other or something like that. Again, we can see those really nice shadows there on the wing of the aircraft. That's nice to see. And we've got more of those cloud shadows just ahead of the plane there, and the clouds look to be getting a little bit darker as well, similar to what they were in that previous screenshot. So maybe it's about to start raining lightly or something like that. Really nice reflections as well, which is what we saw in the previous image. They seem to be a constant thing as well. It's a really good reflections. Overall, a very, very nice picture indeed. And next up, we've got a lovely landscape-style screenshot, is what I would call it, with a large body of water to the left and some land and mountains to the right. We can see sort of a light aircraft there to the left of the image flying around. I love how rays from the sun are coming in from the right-hand side of the image there as well. You can sort of see that the sunshine is obviously there to the top right-hand corner of the screen somewhere. It really makes things look nice. We've also got some of those shadows again coming from the clouds onto the landscape, which makes it look brilliant. Reflections, again, looking fantastic, and the clouds themselves looking stunning in this image as well. The next screenshot here takes us back inside the cockpit of an aircraft here as we look out of the window towards the right wing. As we do look out of the window, we can see an airport runway there as well, alongside what looks to be maybe a racing track of some sort, maybe sort of like a track for some kind of Olympic event, like a sprinting track or maybe horse racing or something. I've got no idea, but it looks like something similar to that. We've got some mountains there pretty close to us as we turn in. It's sort of in their direction, so I hope the user's not going to smash into them. But they look really detailed. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fly as close as they can so they can show us how detailed those mountains really look. Again, I'm loving those reflections that we see on the body of the aircraft as well. We can see some shadows happening inside the cockpit. We can sort of make out a bit of light shining on the dashboard and things like that. The cockpit shadowing looks absolutely fantastic. Again, feel free to tell me in the comments what place in the world this is, because again, as always, my geography is absolutely terrible. Not a lot really to say about this next image, in my opinion. It looks as if the same aircraft we saw before. The sort of ground textures sort of look like water in this. It looks like we're on the ground, obviously, but it looks like we've landed or we're in some sort of water. I don't think that's the case. I think it's just, for some reason, the resolution of the ground might not be perfect. It doesn't look like land, although that's probably just my eyesight. It could be. I've no idea. We've got some grass in there as well and some trees surrounding us. The sky looks to be really clear and sunny. Can't see any clouds. We've got a nice view of the PFD and things like that, and the instruments inside the aircraft. They all look pretty detailed. And obviously the textures inside the aircraft look nice as well. Overall, like I said, there's not really a lot to say about this picture. The vegetation looks nice. The trees look nice. It's an interesting screenshot, most definitely. This next one is probably going to be one of my favourites, as well as some of the others. We can see a light aircraft there flying above what looks to be a hilly / mountainous area with some great clouds there. We've got some really nice ground imagery. We've got the trees there towards the left bottom corner of the image, and some nice shadow effects in the distance as well as we look a little bit further out. Moving on again, we've got another sunset one, which looks to be absolutely fantastic. And all I can say is, wow, an absolutely fantastic screenshot. Look at those clouds, look at those sort of sky effects there. Everything really, really works well. The colour of the clouds is like a pinkish / greyish colour, or pinkish / whitish, whatever you want to call it. We've got some lovely reflections on the propeller of the aircraft there, as well as some gorgeous lighting on the body as we fly over what looks to be a large river. It's absolutely fantastic. It really is very, very detailed. We can also see some sort of haze effects coming from the hills and the mountains around here, which is nice to see. And we've got what looks to be some sort of night lighting going on as well. If we look along the edge of the river, it looks like there are some sort of lights on. So maybe people live on the edge there, or maybe it's some sort of resort or something that you can go or retreat. So it's all lit up. I've got no idea. Really nice looking image overall. Definitely wallpaper worthy, I would say. Coming up towards the end of the screenshots here, there's another one after this, but this is probably my #1 favourite of all of them. We can see this light aircraft here sitting on either a runway or some sort of maybe a taxiway or something like that, or patch of land, surrounded by snow. Absolutely gorgeous image with a really Christmassy feel to it. It really brings sort of a wintry, Christmassy vibe, quite obviously because of the snow. I love how the snow interacts with the ground and the trees. It really makes things look realistic and believable. The branches have got little bits of snow stuck to them, which is what you would see in real life. The visibility is perfect as well and very realistic, because we can see how things start to slowly drift away from sight in the background due to the haze effect there, caused by the weather itself and obviously caused by the temperature and things like that. It really looks nice. We can see some sort of mountains or hills in the background just off as they begin to sort of fade away. Again, really is one of my favourite images out of all of them right there. I can't wait to experience this sort of flying in winter time. It'd be absolutely brilliant. And the last image here from the update shows us flying over some sort of maybe a town or a city. As we look down, you can see the different streets and the roads, as well as some buildings. Again, I've got no idea where this was taken, so feel free to let me know. But look at those reflections there on the right engine of this aircraft, on the body of the aircraft and the engine, and then obviously the propeller as well. They're all over these reflections. Really, really nice. The trees look really nice as well in this one. They all seem to really fit well together and they look nice. They don't look repetitive, so that's really good to see. A really, really stunning image overall. I cannot wait to see what this simulator is going to look like once it's available to us all. So guys, that is it with the screenshots here. We can see how amazing the simulator is going to look, and these sorts of updates where we get plenty of images are, in my opinion, the best type of update. As ever, I will keep you up to date with the latest FS2020 news, guys. Sorry that this video is a little bit late. I was meant to upload it on the same day that this update came out, but it came out in the very early hours for me. It must have done because I was checking all the way up until sort of midnight and I didn't see anything. But as ever, I've been extremely busy as well in the meantime, so that is probably one of the other reasons that this video hasn't been done a little bit sooner. Nevertheless, I'm hoping to get some P3D version 5 content out there soon as well, so stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, I would highly recommend subscribing if you like this sort of content, and if you'd like to see more P3D version 5 content coming as well. Feel free to support me on Patreon as well if you'd like access to early sort of content and posts and videos and things like that. You can find a link for that in the description. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.